There's some ash I saw coming in here that was really straight.
Cool.
You see this? We ought to look at see what we can find. This twisted too. Because when you watch the back, it's got a twist and it starts to. The wood's going exactly the same direction. When you split it, it's going to do the same thing.
Go right there. The center of the shoe right here. It's pencil. It's pencil. Yeah, it's pencil.
Nice and gentle. Max, can you help him with that tree? Yeah. Now, if it cools, we can stick it back in there, right? If it cools too much to be flexible, we can put it back in.
This here, this is all the wood's taken off the inside. This side you don't want to break, because when you do, it pop. Well, where'd that shoe go? Right there. If you're going to lose a shoe, it's always there.
It's like the same with the bow, why you never touch the outer.
Yeah. If you're making a bow and you cut the outside, if you're bending this way, then you take it off this side. If you're bending that way, you take it off the outside. If this shoe comes up this way, what happens is because the biggest part of the shoe is there, then it does this. Well, you're already stepping forward, and so that's in the snow, and now you know the rest of the story. So a snowshoe is made to drag. Making it, this part right here is probably that, and getting the hide sized and cut is the hardest part of the snowshoe. Then the lacing is just a process. And then the mortise and tenon, when you do those, you want them tight. And this is a good, see that has got too much space. So it makes a weak shoe. So if you look at if you're building, so if you were building a house and it's posted beam and it's got that much space in the mortise and tenon, you got a weak joint. You know what? When that building begins, the building is going to do this. Well, if you get a little bit too much wind, it goes. You cut out a chunk of wood. If you fill it full without forcing it, you haven't lost any strength at all. So the key to the mortise and tenon is to have it fit really tight. However, not so tight. I'm not sure if one of these are like that.
Split it out.
Yeah. Yep. You put your finger on there. I picked these up over at Farmington. The guy had them. He didn't want them because the toes were cracked. Feel that bump?
Oh, yeah.
So that's pressure. And it's in the, you can automatically figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's good.
And you're going to walk that crossbar right out through. Average shoe between Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, all the way to this, that's an average size weave that you find down in this country. The minute you step up into the indigenous community, you won't even find it. They won't even consider weaving a shoe like that.
What?
They got dry powder. They won't. That's too big. You've got a pretty good size weave, because the average snow you got here is sticky, and so this will float you with no trouble. And if you go, like last winter we had that deep powder, then you start thinking about that Ojibwe shoe I had just see that I got from the creek, because the powder will float and come through this, and it won't do that on the other one. And so you end up with that generally in the bush we end up with 3 pair of shoes. This, we'll say one you're going to beat and pound to death, cut firewood on it, and it's a sacrifice. And then you've got a pair of shoes you're going to run around and do your trapping and snaring with. And then you got another pair of shoes that you're on the trail. Those two you're going to take better care of than you do the others. Sometimes they get cut with a chainsaw and nicked. I had a pair. The toe was clipped right here halfway through. So we just lashed it up. And, yeah, so there's 5 styles right there. So they're all this one we call that that's more for, it's not the best trail shoe, but it's better in the bush. It's thick. That's I'd rather use these, and that's a better trail shoe. When I'm walking, that's a pretty common step. Them shoes are pretty close. And so I'm always going to be stretched a little when I'm on snowshoes, but that's a common, that's a short step. You're not going to take great big long steps with a snowshoe. And then once you get it stretched out, then that makes your toes straight. That's what that is.
So simple.
This is what you find in a common shoe. They have a bunch of, Gil's got them in his book. He's got 2 or 3 interesting harnesses. But it's made for the common shoe that you'd see. Like this shoe's got a smooth toe, and they don't like smooth toes.
Okay.
With a moccasin, it will stick right there.
Yeah.
And with a tingly rubber, there's enough give so it will squash it in.
Okay.
And with a hard-toed shoe, it tends to want to flop all over on you, and the next thing you know, your toe pops out.
Gotcha.
That's been the biggest problem that we've run into with a common boot you find today. So when you put this on, this harness this is about as old as time. I can't actually tell you where the design ever evolved from. Put your foot in like I just did. Come up. I'm in. And my toe is right about right there. So when I walk, if the tail comes off the ground, what happens is, because you're walking, when the tail comes up, what happens is the snow will hit here and the toe will drag. So once it's tipped down, it's, you know, you're going in. It's just like you learn. And so that's made, and so when you get ready to come out, you're out and gone. And it doesn't matter if you go in or out when you do this. You can go this way or this way. Well, I always get a foot on. It's either the left. So if I put my left foot, it's on the inside. And then I pop that one off and come out. Then I step over here and I do this one. If you want it varnished so it looks nicer, do it. Otherwise, doesn't mean.
I was just wondering, constantly, I mean, I can understand if it's cold enough, like especially up north, like they're not really getting wet until you
Right,
go
yeah.
inside and thaw them out, but down here, is that constant wet, dry, is that gonna just like dry right out the wood?
No, it don't bother it. I have never had it bother a shoe.
Okay.
This rawhide shoe, the wood doesn't care, but the rawhide does. That's when, down here, if I had rawhide, I would be thinking about some sort of varnish. Because when it gets soggy, well, you know when it is? Sugar season, in March. That shoe will go, that will stretch 2 inches up and 2 inches down, you go.
Can you just like wax coat them or something?
I don't know, I never did wax one. Wax might work. Varnish is the only thing I